Guys, welcome back to BCU Racing Podcast. I'm your host Alia, and today I'm joined by a special guest.
Hi, I'm Dev from Penrose 3D Limited.
Hi Dev, it's so lovely to have you on the podcast today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
And we've also had amazing gifts from Dev, by the way, today.
You will see them in a minute. They're all spread out here, to be fair. So
Yeah, we've got them on the camera side and your side. So honestly though, I also got a little F1 keychain, which might I just say, honestly is so cute. So with Penrose Limited, could you just start off with introducing yourself and what you do over at the team?
yeah,
over there?
so basically, I'm the founder and owner of the business. We started trading January last year, so fairly new. In terms of the business, we're kind of involved in 3D printing using sort of high-end engineering grade materials, like carbon fiber blend. My role pretty much in the business is currently I'm the owner and like the employee in the business. So at the minute it's just myself. So I basically cover everything when it comes to customer communications, CAD design, running the 3D printers itself, marketing. It's a lot of things to do, but you got to start somewhere. So that's where we are.
So, because you're a new founded business, how is that like being like a new business?
It's stressful at times, I must admit, but I absolutely enjoy doing it. It's something that it started off as a hobby thing, but over the years, I think it's kind of just grown, and as I've gotten more comfortable exploring various things in 3D printing, I think I've gained more confidence. I've learned new skills. Like I'm an accountant by trade. I studied accountancy at BCU Uni itself all those years ago. So it was a completely different direction to head in, but I've always been interested in engineering. So it's something that came very natural once I got into it.
It's so cool that you're an accountant at BCU. Do you think the building's changed a lot?
University, my degree in the Perrybar campus.
Oh.
Back then, because that's where the accountancy sort of faculty was. So I never was on this side of the university before. So having been part of this project, I think actually kind of got me more into this side of building. But yeah, it's come a long way, because that was almost 12 years ago now. I'm talking, I graduated back in 2010, so I feel really old just talking about it. But yeah, it's nice to be here.
No, you've come a long way from what we've seen at BCU Racing. You've done an amazing job from where you were to where you are now. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you.
For anyone that's listening for the first time and never heard of Penrose Limited, do you have any simple terms to help them really grasp the concept of who you guys are as a team?
Basically, we are some at the simplest level. I think we basically try to make your sketches or CAD designs into physical products. For instance, I've got a sample here. This was a customer that came in that wanted... This is something you probably can find off the shelf in the market to specific sizes, but then if you then want something really to your specific needs, you've got CAD design. You design it, send it to us, we 3D print it from prototype to final product. That's what we do. So it starts off with a sketch, a CAD design, a prototype. You test it. If you're happy with it and you want to do batch production, we batch produce.
That's so cool, because we have I think the last time I did anything 3D printing related, it was back in high school, because we used to have a little 3D printer, and it was in our DT tech room.
Yeah.
And we made these little badges back then. I thought they were so cool, but I will be completely honest, I was never the greatest in engineering or science. So I looked at it and I said to my teacher, this is amazing, I'm going to take it home. I still have it on my little school bag, to be fair to it.
It has come a long way, to be fair. When I was at university, just going back to that, I think I remember before I started university, obviously I went through open days and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I wanted to either study engineering or accounting. Those were my two choices. And I went to Wolverhampton Uni in their Telford campus, and they had 3D printers there, and they were big, massive machines.
Yeah, because they can be like
They were
really big.
But today you can buy one that will fit on a desktop table. At the minute, like I said, I'm just operating from home, so I've got about 5 printers set up in the garage itself. They just sit on the shelf. They run 24/7, depending on how they are. So it's come a long way. So the things that you can do with 3D printing, absolutely mind-boggling sometimes.
Has there been anything in particular like really, really fun that you've printed off so far?
A few things. I think we set up an Etsy shop recently, and just part of that I've just been doing for some few things. So I've got some little goodies like you mentioned, some little key rings, iPhone inspired kind of key rings.
They're really, really cute as well.
And they can be personalized as well. So this obviously just your generic standard design, but then if you wanted some like your name on it or act like a luggage tag or something, then we can definitely do that as well. There's you've shown some F1 key rings. We got some F1 themed coasters. It's just like a fun little project that we do on the side. It takes the focus away from all the busy customer type things, and most of the work that we do sometimes ends up being NDA bound, so we can't show it off to the public. So you got to have something to show on the social medias.
With regards to the keychains, where can anyone go to for it with regards to Etsy?
So if you just go on Etsy and look for us, Penrose 3D Limited, it's Penrose 3D and LTD at the end. It's a bizarre reason why, I don't know why. But yeah, we've got quite a few fun things in there. We've got sort of like traditional like Hindu stuff, because I'm Hindu by religion, so my mother-in-law actually suggested that this could be something of a thing. So we've got like we call them puja tables, so we put the like the religious things on, and that's what it kind of started off with. And then obviously it's like, oh well, we've got the Etsy shop set up, so we may as well do something new. So then we've got obviously the key rings that I've just shown. We've got F1 themed, some fun things that we've done actually. We've done like a display case with the F1 car models in them,
that's
of
cool.
like a 1:43 scale one. And it's got integrated LEDs on it. I think I've been working on it since Christmas, and it finally came to like final design, and I'm quite chuffed to like put it on. So we've got, at the minute, I think we've got Lando Norris and Max Verstappen's car on there.
Oh, we have big Max Verstappen fans in the team as well.
That would be good. That'd be good. I could order some more Max Verstappen cars then. But yeah, it's just kind of it's a juggle between the full-time job and obviously doing this on the side as well. So it's a juggle to kind of find time to make the products. But most of the products are on there are kind of like my own sort of personal likes, if you like. I'm a big F1 fan, so I did a few F1. I've got like a cupboard full of F1 car models, and one day I was just looking at one and thought, that car is a little bit small. That could do with something to showcase it. And I sat at work and I just kind of sketched it up and came back home, designed it, and it's on Etsy. So yeah, it's basically just Penrose 3D Limited on Etsy, and I think we should be able to find the shop.
Have you ever had like a really, really crazy request? Like, bizarre, where you were like, I can do it, but it's very, very crazy.
I did, to be honest, I did. We had a customer once that sent us some parts to print, and on the face of it, when I put it on the printer and it came off the bed and it printed, on the face of it looked very bizarre, and I couldn't quite work out what it was until I just happened to go and hand deliver it. Normally I just post it out, but for this one, because it was close by, I hand delivered it, and the customer gave me a tour of the factory and actually showed me where the parts ended up. And it was the most bizarrest thing ever. It's just, it was just like a flat base, and you had something probably a bit similar to this, but in weird shape, and it kind of just fit into like a jigsaw puzzle as a display unit. And when I looked at the parts, like I said, I just couldn't figure out that that's what
Yeah.
it was. And I said to him that he could have just said it was part of the display
Yeah.
part. And he said, unfortunately, we couldn't because it's all sort of NDA bound until it was officially released. We do get some weird requests sometimes, and sometimes you just say, no, sorry, unfortunately,
Yeah,
we
just
can't do it
there's
because it's not allowed.
Not completely. So with Penrose Limited, because you mentioned that you are an accountant as well, you did accountancy at BCU, and then you're currently running it. How did it originally get started, Penrose?
So essentially, I think personally, like I studied accountancy at university, but I was always sort of into space and rocket models and that kind of thing. And at first, I obviously bought a few off the internet, but then someone introduced me. Obviously, like I said, I went to university and I obviously saw the 3D printers, and then it kind of like, as they becoming more available, I bought one off, I think it was for about 150, 200 pounds. It was a tiny little printer, not big, 150 by 150 mil. And you could find these rocket models on the internet as like a part of the, like, you know, they have these platforms called Thingiverse and stuff like that where free people do the work and they upload it for free and you download it, and you can't sell it or anything, but you can print it for yourself. And it just kind of started off with that, just few model printing for myself. If you probably go on our Instagram page, one of the first few pictures when I first started doing the social media post is one of those rocket models. It's the whole sort of like Starship tower ship and booster kind of thing, the whole thing. And it's something I 3D printed a while back, and it just kind of sits there in the corner as inspiration. Yeah. And that's what kind of let me into it. So at first it was just kind of hobby printing, and then as I got more comfortable, as I understood it more, like I said, it's a completely different field. Yeah. Accounting and engineering are two different ways. It just kind of snowballed from there, and then you kind of go, okay, I can buy that filament. I can buy. Then if that little printer then became a sort of slightly bigger printer, and then it kind of became a slightly bigger printer. And then if you've got a bigger printer, you kind of then go, I'd like to try and print that material, see what it does. And then it just kind of, from hobby, it just kind of becomes a bit like an obsession. Almost like an obsession. I think sometimes my wife does say to me that, Dev, you talk 3D printing too much, you need to take a break. It does, especially when I was doing all these projects for Etsy. It does take up a lot of time. So it kind of just went from there, and it just snowballed, and then eventually got to a point where I think I got introduced to a few customers from, because I used to do 3D printing before I started Penrose as well. So from that angle, there were a few people that I talked to, and I just decided, I've got all this equipment, I'm going to make something out of it. And it just kind of started Penrose 3D Limited like that.
That's really cool that you've started from something like a hobby to turn it into something so big, because it is, in my opinion, like a really, really big thing that you have, and it's amazing.
Yeah, the plan hopefully eventually is to sort of do it full time.
That'd be amazing.
That's what we're trying to build towards. So hopefully, being part of BCU Racing, and it gives us that sort of extra credibility, I think, just to build that reputation with customers.
So with regards to BCU Racing, how did you actually come to get in touch with us, or did we get in touch with you?
I think it started from university. Like, I had a mate of mine when I was at university. He was at Aston University at the time, and obviously when I was at BCU, didn't have a engineering faculty, or they didn't do Formula student racing. But he obviously was part of the Aston Uni Formula student back then, and I kind of was always a bit jealous of it, because it's something I would have loved to be a part of in some capacity. So when I started Penrose, the plan was always to get into Formula student racing in some capacity, that whether it be 6 months down the road or 12 months down the road or sometime in the future, the plan was always there. And I think I just happened to go on I think it was the I believe it is. I think it's the iMechie,
Little
the website.
Yeah.
And there they had, to my surprise, they had the list of entrants for that year. And I just happened to download it, and I just thought, I'll just send inquiries to all these, see if they want anything. Most universities probably do have 3D printers within their building, so the chances are very unlikely that I'd get involved. But in the off case it does, then it kind of ticks that box. And immediately down the list, I saw BCU Racing, and I was like, I've got to get involved.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got to get involved. It's got to be. It's got to happen. So I think I messaged, I think it was on the Facebook group page and the Instagram page. I think I just sent a message. I didn't hear back from it for a while, to be honest. So I thought, okay, fine, maybe it's not going to happen. And then I think it was, I think it was Salim, the team. Salim or Harsha, I think it was, that got in touch back to say, will you be able to help with some 3D printing? And of course, the answer was always going to be yes. It just happened to coincide with me buying a new printer, specifically for the materials that I wanted to introduce for those specific things, and it just like match made in heaven. It just clicked.
Was fate.
It was fate.
Yeah.
Absolutely fate. Because like I said, I messaged. I hadn't heard anything from for a while, so I didn't give up on it. But I just thought maybe it was too late for this year. Maybe I'll try at the start of the next academic year, and maybe something will happen. So, but it just happened to happen, and then they gave me the parts. A couple of them were like, I think 21 hour prints.
Oh.
I've never done that before. Like I said, it was a new printer specifically for that purpose.
Yeah.
I would have loved to test print some before I said, yes, I can do it. But because they needed it straight away, they were heading to Silverstone in 2 weeks and they needed it straight away. So I was like, okay, we'll have to do it. And I did it. And the prints came out really nice, I think. And then I saw the pictures when they went onto the car, and it was like a really proud moment, because it felt a full circle. Like, I started at BC Uni and I've done something to help BC Uni. And
hopefully we can continue that partnership. I know for myself personally, I've said it to you before the podcast episode, it'll be myself getting in touch with you next year.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is something it's got a personal connection to it, and I'd love to continue this for a very, very long time, because it's very close to me personally.
Do you sponsor any other Formula teams beside BCU?
No, I think for the time being, I think it's just BCU Racing. But yeah, obviously that's what we're here for. Again, I always link it to my personal side, because I was good at maths and sciences in school and university, and that's what led me to study accountancy, and then obviously now doing a bit of engineering as well. And STEM subjects are really important. So to be able to contribute back and support that development, because like I said, as I mentioned to you earlier before the podcast, I would have loved the opportunity to do something more practical. Like, obviously, because I studied accountancy, I think the scope of doing practical things is very limited. You're kind of just limited to your course or that, unless you've got external interests where you get involved in. Whereas subjects like engineering or marketing or stuff like that, you've got the chance to do something practical and gain knowledge, because once you come out of university, there's a big gap. People don't realize it's a big change. University life is university life, and then you go into real life and
it knocks you a bit.
It knocks you a little bit. It takes you by surprise, and that transition by doing things like the Formula student effort, or like yourself doing the podcast, it gives you that experience, that comfort, that sort of, that builds that knowledge. So then when you are to go out in the real world and find a job, it just makes it a lot easier, that transition, and to be able to support that, to develop, to help in that development. I think it's quite a rare thing to do, and not many people get that opportunity to do that. So, you know, whether from myself or through Penrose, you know, I'm lucky to be in that position to support the university student effort.
I like continue to say this, but Penrose is honestly an amazing sponsor.
Thank
and
you.
like with your like help, like even coming today for the podcast was like you're the first sponsor to be on here. Really grateful for that. It's definitely a thing of like, for me personally, I know I want to build up as much of my experience as I can before I leave university, and this is like another like stuff to put on my portfolio, to put on my CV, and like the more help I get, the better, I always say.
Absolutely. And to be honest, like this is the first time I've done something like this from a personal level as well. Like, you know, I'm generally like a very shy, reserved person. But obviously, you know, being an accountant and then obviously now doing this, I've got to put myself in positions where
go out your shell a bit.
Yeah, go out my shell and do stuff like that.
3D printing, like budget-wise, do you have like a particular budget when it comes to like how much you can like take? Because I was speaking to one of the gentlemen that does 3D printing here, like on the side for at BCU, and he was saying like the little stuff to put in it. I think it's called the filaments.
The filaments.
They're a bit expensive. So how do you like do that with the business side of it as well?
It all sort of depends. Obviously, you know, without the materials, I can't do anything. So that's part of the cost of the business. That just kind of goes back to the customer, and just kind of charge it back up to the customer. But it just kind of depends on the material. Like you've got your standard, like your PLA materials from which you would do like coasters or key rings or just your standard basic objects. They can cost like £10-15 a kilo to I've got this kind of like material here, which is something new that we've trying. It's called, yeah, to be honest, it's one of those, I'm sure I think you've probably come across it, like people print little boats.
Yeah.
The little boats.
They're so cute.
If you buy a 3D printer and you take it out the box, whether you have to assemble it or it's pre-assembled, once you boot it up and you load the filament, that's one of the files that they give you to test print. It's like the most popular thing in the world. And it's similar with this material. So if you are to print this material, it's called PPSCF. It's a carbon fiber sort of polymer. And you have to print this belt because it kind of like just...
Oh, that's so cool. I love that it makes the sound as well.
It sounds like metal, but it's a plastic. It's carbon fiber infused, and it's really good. Like it's got like really strong heat resistant properties and stuff like that. So it's something new we've introduced to our customers, and that is something like £150 a kilo to. I've got this little thing here. On paper, it's just like little thing. It's about 30 grams. But this one costs about £300 a kilo.
Oh my, that's expensive. Like for that to be that expensive.
It's infused with tungsten. So again, it's very sort of niche and it's got very specific requirements. But you can go absolutely crazy with filaments if you're just trying them out. But yeah, obviously, like, you know, we're 3D printing nowadays. I think because of how it's become so accessible.
Yeah.
The competition. So when I first started, I think it was back end of 2020, it wasn't that accessible. So, you know, the competition out there wasn't that big. Whereas now anyone can buy a 3D printer and start printing things. So you got to be able to stand out, and that's what we're trying to do. So that's why we're trying to offer these more, I wouldn't say exotic materials, but they're more sort of like advanced materials that have very specific needs, or very specific applications, and that's what we're.
Have you seen like a big uptake as well with customers wanting them at the moment?
So at the minute, so far, it's only in trial phase. So we've only been trialing and sort of doing some test prints just to calibrate the printers itself. So we've done obviously a few jokey prints like the bell, but then we've done some serious prints as well, just to kind of showcase the real world applications of it. I'm due to do a post on LinkedIn. I'm just kind of haven't had the chance to do it, but I've kind of just initially just mocked up a sort of like a small design where, not to get too technical, but it's kind of like an internal channel within the print. So traditionally you would probably have two things printed or machined, and then they join together, and then the pipe kind of feeds the water or whatever liquid through. Whereas using this material, of kind of essentially trying to demonstrate that you can 3D print it as one big block or one piece where the pipe, the water, or whichever liquid just kind of runs through. And I've tested it under a tap, and the water actually does flow through, and it does work. But I just need that extra pair of hands to video me while I'm doing the liquid water test, because I tried to do it, and the water just kind of just straight into my face. So I was like, no, I can't. I need to do it properly, because it does open up a lot of more opportunities, and I'm hoping that it will let people know that we can do a lot more.
So at the moment, how many people are there in the business? Is it just yourself, or do you have a couple of employees?
No, it's just myself at the minute.
Oh my gosh.
Doing it all alone.
I honestly thought you had like a whole team, because you run like a very efficient ship, I would say. So I was like, oh, he's got a couple of employees. It definitely has like a business.
I'm the accountant. I'm the sales manager. I'm the marketing manager. You name it. I think I've tried it. Obviously, like, you got to start somewhere, and I think personally from my side, I think obviously, like I said, at the minute I've got a full-time job, so that takes up a lot of time. So this is something that I do evenings and weekends kind of thing, just to build it up. And then obviously at the minute, obviously, if I've got a customer order printing, the printers are running, they just run in the background. I just leave them on all day. But yeah, it's hopefully the plan is to grow to a point where I don't have to do it all alone.
Do you have like a certain time frame with that as well, where you're thinking, oh, down the line in like a couple of years or a couple of months, then I can leave it?
Hopefully soon, I would say. I'm hoping in the next 6 to 12 months, I'm in a position where I can start thinking about doing it full time.
So you said you're someone who's quite shy and reserved. How have you been doing like with social media?
I think all the social media posts so far, I think it's just pictures or short little reels where I've just taken the camera and just kind of recorded it. I've tried doing the like you see on TikTok where people are talking to the camera, or have got the camera and they're talking in the background but they're showing things. I've tried to dabble into it, but I've not quite gotten comfortable with the content that's come out. Probably need a bit more practice, I think.
I always say, like, just stick yourself in front of the camera, have a little joke with it first. As soon as you get a joke with it and you get comfortable with it, just start spamming out the content. Like, we had to like subtly get the engineers to used to it, because they'd be like, I don't want to be in the TikToks, please don't put me in the TikToks.
I think it's a common thing.
But no, now they're really used to it, and we're just like, we need you for a TikTok, you're coming with us now, please. So
absolutely.
It's like slowly getting into it. I think you do really well with like the quirky also TikToks almost, like with like the bell and just like a Judge Judy one, or like even like a little Abby Lee Miller dance moms, excuse me, bus driver, back of the road, then just ring the bell. Make it
I did actually, I think it's probably still on my phone, to be honest. I did record like a talk, like a voiceover video to do it. But then I played it back. It's like, oh, I don't sound so good. I don't want to embarrass myself here. And I just kind of,
I think, in my opinion, you should embarrass yourself. Not like a movie.
Probably that's what makes it viral. That's what makes people engaging. Like, you look at it and you just go, oh.
Like, we had our Biebercella one where we had to do like dancing in front of the camera, and we were just like, we look like absolute silly billies, but we're gonna go for it. We're gonna post it and see how it did. And it did quite well in like viewship wise. We got 1,300 views on that one. Well, so I think it's like the more you push yourself out, the more you're gonna get like viewers in.
I might get one of you guys to help me out on that one in the future sometime, maybe.
Just hit us up after we graduate.
Sounds good.
So with it, are you also planning to expand the team as well?
So hopefully that's the plan. Obviously, as the business grows, there'll obviously be more opportunities. And some engineers, some good marketing people, some good sales managers. Absolutely. That's the whole point. And I think that's the reason why I think I love this sponsorship aspect. For me, it's not just, oh, my brand is being represented on the car or on the merchandise. For me, it's that I'm getting involved and I'm helping someone inspire to, hopefully maybe someday, yourself or anyone else can be like, Dev, can I come and work for you guys? Absolutely.
it's all about building bridges.
Absolutely.
And like we definitely are. And in regards to 3D printing and technology, you previously mentioned in the podcast about how a couple of years ago it was a very much smaller industry. Where do you kind of see it in 5 to 10 years from now?
I think it's growing at a pace where, you know, even I wouldn't say it's going to replace traditional manufacturing completely. Traditional manufacturing is still going to exist. You still need it, but it does certainly bring a lot more opportunities to do something that traditional manufacturing can't do, or it's not possible to do. As I mentioned earlier, I'm trialing that water inlet part, and obviously, like I said, I follow space a lot, and like companies like SpaceX and Relativity Space, just to name a few. I think they integrate 3D printing into their rocket manufacturing. For instance, you know, SpaceX, their new engine has gone from weighing a ton to less than a ton, for instance, and all the cooling and everything is all integrated inside the 3D, like inside the nozzle and inside the engine. So that's where I think it's heading. The market is growing. The availability of more advanced material is it's certainly a lot easier than it was, and it can sort of help and coincide. So I can definitely see in 5 years' time, you know, where things like a, you know, for instance, just to think off the top of my head, like, you know, I mean, many teams already do so anyways. Like F1 teams, they integrate 3D printing within their manufacturing process, and I can definitely see 3D printing being integrated into car manufacturing a lot more. There will be things where it's just easier to 3D print than manufacture from metal or any other. I mean, you can 3D print metal as well these days.
Yeah, like with the little bell thing, it's sounding like the metal.
That sounds like metal, but you can actually do 3D printing, metal 3D printing as well.
I've never heard about that before. That's so
cool. It works
cool.
exactly like that. Like I said, the space companies, they actually 3D print metal. NASA and all of them are talking about building moon bases and Mars bases, and 3D printing will play a big part in those kind of scenarios as well, where we need to manufacture something using on-site materials, for instance. You can't ship filaments across from Earth. Yeah. You've got to be able to manufacture from what you have there, and I think that's where 3D printing will hit the mark, and just be that technology will then get transferred into technology here on Earth, and it will just
do you have like a particular like dream company as well, where you're just like, if I had the chance to work with you, because you mentioned your interest in space and F1, but is there like between the two like one particular company that you're like, if I worked with you, I would honestly, like, that's my goal?
We want to be up there. We want to be there. We want to be working with companies like SpaceX and that kind of, we want to get there. Obviously that would be the dream. When I started Penrose, I wanted to get into aerospace. That was the goal. That's why I'm introducing these sort of like materials, so that it's more in line with their manufacturing process. But obviously, as a startup, it's quite difficult because you need the safety ratings, you need the like all that sort of thing. So rather than heading straight to there, it's kind of taking a bit of a detour to go, okay, well, let's try and build a customer base. Let's get up and running. Let's get a stable footing, and then once we're there, we can then move up.
And you never know, any one of these, like an engineering lot, could end up working in space, and they're like, yeah, you remember Penrose? I used to work with them. Like a little connection, and
absolutely.
Then you never know, because from all your teams that you work with, maybe somehow along the way, one of them will get you there.
Yeah. That's essentially how it would pan out. Like, you've got to have the network, and I think when I first started, that's what I lacked, because for instance, my personal LinkedIn was more finance focused. I had more finance connections, so it's trying to build that network, trying to, like I said, put myself out the comfort zone, and just kind of get involved with people and build that network and build that bridge between other companies, other potential customers in the engineering industry, and build from there.
With Penrose, how did the name first come about as well?
It comes from. It's a funny story. I think I've had a couple of people ask me that question because they don't instantly get the
3D,
the whole premise of it. So the idea. I watched Inception when it first came out. I love that film. And in there, I think halfway through the film, where I can't remember the girl's name. She obviously gets introduced into the whole like shared dreaming and stuff, and there's that guy that's giving him the tutorial essentially, and in there he shows her the impossible staircase.
Oh, that movie's so good.
And it's that's where it comes from, because it's the impossible staircase. You can't have it, but you can 3D print it. And that's essentially what our logo is. It's that impossible triangle, basically, and that's what it's called. It's Penrose Triangle. So that's why I've integrated the name Penrose into the business to say it's Penrose 3D Limited. We can essentially the hidden idea is that we can do
the impossible.
Do the impossible is what we.
No, that's so cool. I think I love the meaning behind it, because when you first look at it, you think Penrose. I like the name, but where did it come from?
Yeah.
You need to have it like on your like little like.
Yeah, it's got to be like I've still got to come across like I still need to work like on a tagline or something to put it, because at the minute I can't, because I want to keep the tagline short but not too short or not too long, and I haven't managed to get the right words in. So
how about Penrose making the impossible possible? Because then it works with you like
that could be a good one. Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to take it, go for it as well.
Sure.
So with the next section, we're just going to do some fun questions now, just before we take it to the end. So it's going to be a little rapid fire question. So design or manufacturing?
Design.
Why?
I like, for me, again, I keep going back to that point where because I come from a different background, that's for me is a new thing. So just to imagine something, sketch it, and design it, it's the best part of it.
And then what's more satisfying for you? Is it the final product itself, or the process of making it for you?
The process.
Because is it like fun to watch?
It's just fun to watch. I would spend, and my wife complains about it as well, to be honest. Like, if I put a print on and I'm sitting in the office room, I'd sit there and watch the print happen, even though it's quite boring to watch. I will admit it is very boring to watch, but you just sit there and watch because it's satisfying just to see that.
It goes
print.
round and round.
Just to see the print. I've got loads of time lapses on my phone where it's just time lapse after time lapse of the whole part.
I will admit, I watch it on TikTok during they have the ASMR ones, and then you just like watching it go around and you're like, oh, this is so satisfying.
Absolutely.
You need to do like a little ASMR day one of the days for it as well, just watching it go around. And then with your company, if Penrose had an F1 name, what would it be, with the like Penrose still being included in it?
Oh, absolutely.
Just like
as boring as it may sound, I think it would just probably be called Penrose F1 Racing Team or something like that.
Would you be the driver?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like
I still maintain that if I had the opportunity, I think I'd give Lewis Hamilton a run for his money. I love racing.
Lewis Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. If Lewis Hamilton ever in the world watches this, then that you guys need to get a little match going on. Head up to F1 and hit him in his DMs.
Absolutely.
And then with it, do you also, what's the like 3 most unexpected? Because you mentioned the one previously with that unexpected printing. What's another 3 things that you've looked at and you've like, that's really unexpected to receive as a 3D printing company?
To receive, we've had some big chunky blocks. You just think, once we had someone come in with a request to 3D print a tub, like a square tub. I think it was 250 by 250 millimeters deep, and I think it was like a square tub. And you just think you could just buy that off the shelf.
Yeah.
Why do I need to 3D print this? Nevertheless, this is how much it's going to cost. That was one. I think we had one that's, I think it was, it was one of those things. I'm trying to find the word to describe it, describe the part. It was like a dingy old machine. The customer showed it to me. It was like a dingy old machine. It was probably not even working condition, but it had a very tiny sort of, probably about this size, smaller than this. Smaller than this part. And half of it was broken, that part itself. And it was like, I've got this part and I need to 3D print it, but the half is missing. I don't know what it looks like. Can you, like, have you got a picture I can rely on so I can try and design it or have it designed? No. Okay, can't do it.
Yeah.
I need something to look at to build it up against, but no, can't do it. So yeah, there are a couple of things we do get some fun requests sometimes. But it's yeah, just sometimes you just ignore it.
You're just like, thank you, but no thank you type of thing.
We also had one. I'm pretty sure it was a spam email, but it looked very genuine because it was quite laid out nicely, and it was a request to print a toaster.
Oh. Would it work like electronically as well? If you,
no.
I was gonna say.
That's why I said I'm pretty sure it was a spam email, but it comes to the website. You look at it and you go,
looks real.
Looks real.
Yeah.
It's a genuine email address. They've attached a file. They've actually gone to the effort to attach a sketch or a design on the request, and it's like, okay.
You just like scratch your head a bit.
Just like scratch your head and just go. Yeah.
So with deadlines, you mentioned working under like very, very like quick deadlines. Do you ever like have to like drink tea or coffee with it, or do you like do energy drinks?
Neither. I'm a hot chocolate guy.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. Hot chocolate, hot mocha, just
hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that'd put me to sleep though. That's the only problem.
Love hot chocolate. It's a source of energy for me. I can't do tea or coffee.
Not even an energy drink. That is crazy. I think maybe it's because I'm a university student.
Probably, but I mean, when I was at university, I think I had my fair share of Red Bull energy drinks.
We have like our C4 cans like crazy.
Absolutely.
No, I think I've got. It's just assignment season right now, so all you see everyone hold is like energy drinks.
Just energy drinks.
Yeah, and then to close it all up, what do you think success like for Penrose in a few years is going to look like for you personally?
Hopefully a nice office space, warehouse, rows and rows of 3D printers just plugging away all day. Me just sitting there admiring all of that, and yeah, that I think would be a successful journey for me. I think that's what I've set out to achieve, and hopefully I think in the next few years I've managed to achieve that and take it from there.
That's amazing. And then for students that do want to get in touch with you, or like any potential customers, how can they get in touch with you?
So easiest way to get in touch with us is through our website, www.penrose3d.com. We've got a wide range of information on there, what we do, what we provide, all the materials we provide, including their data sheets and everything. We can also get in touch through our social medias. We actively post on LinkedIn and Instagram. Those are the two main ones. We're always posting fun content like these. And yeah, again, Etsy is again one of those things we mentioned earlier, that if you're interested in buying something fun that we've done, that's the best place to do it.
No, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I've got to say before we end it, for coming onto the podcast today and agreeing. As the first sponsor, I will admit, a bit nervous to have like a sponsor on for the first time. But no, you've honestly been an amazing guest. I really do hope we can have you again in the future for another podcast episode.
No, absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I was really nervous about doing this, but I know you guys have made me feel really comfortable. And yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. And yeah, hopefully we'll do some something again soon.
Hopefully soon. And then for everyone that's listening, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Remember to follow us on our LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and this episode will be posted on our YouTube and Spotify. Thank you so much, guys, and have a lovely day. Bye.
Thank you.